with Bad Mormons.
I'm Mandy.
And I'm Charlotte.
And we're two sisters who like to get drunk.
Yeah, we do. And tell you about stupid things we do. And bitch about politics on the internet.
It's a lot of fun. Doesn't that sound like fun to you?
It is a blast.
The kids love us. So yeah, this is the show you've chosen to listen to. I have a little bit of a headache today. I don't know why.
You need to slam that whiskey.
Okay, done. Cheers.
Immediately. Cheers.
Cheers.
I'll slam this wine. How about that? Keep going. Keep going. Keep go. Oh my God, you're a champion. Do it.
Woodford Reserve.
Oh, it's a nice one.
Double oaked. My favorite.
I'm choosing not to mix my whiskey and my wine today. So
Smart.
You know, maybe I'll be coherent by the end of this.
Guess which episode this is?
69, bro.
So close. 96.
Oh, strike that. Reverse it.
We're 4 episodes away from 100 episodes.
We should do something incredibly special.
And if you count the parables, I think it's like 99. I know.
I count the parables.
Oh my God.
Parables. Anywho.
I have a paper from last week.
Okay.
It has some things written down that I don't understand. It says repent. Peach equals pear. Does that ring any bells to you?
Maybe you called something a peach when it should have been a pear.
I don't make mistakes. This sounds like something you would do. I'm perfect in every way. Anyway, moving on. Sorry. We get drunk. We say what we want. And sometimes we have to apologize for it later.
Right? Because that's what adults do. And we're adults.
Did you ever think we would get here, Charlotte?
No. No, I wouldn't.
It's
ever.
funny. I'm pushing 50 and I don't feel like I'm an old lady.
My favorite is when you get messages from your drunk-ass sister at Disneyland going, I'm drunk at Disneyland and I'm almost 50.
What else are you going to do? Jesus.
Not go to church and repent for your sins and pay tithing, I guess.
I guess not.
It's not what I'm doing.
I'm not giving my money to that church. Actually, you know what? That leads me right into Mormon Corner.
Oh, fabulous.
Because, so we started talking last week about the women of Mormonism.
Yeah.
And as I'm trying to read through it to find some good stuff to read, it actually seems like it's pretty anti-polygamy.
Oh.
Which is strange.
I mean, that's good and everything, but, you know.
It's not what I had anticipated. However, let me say this. It was written in 1890 whatever, so it's pretty dry and hard to read.
Right.
And I do have a headache, so I kind of just skimmed through it. And I was like,
fair.
I was like, this doesn't seem like it's anything that is making fun of polygamy, which is more what I'm in the mood for right now.
Correct.
So I promise you, listeners, I will actually read it, and I will try to figure out what the fuck I'm talking about before I hit record next time.
Oh, that's different from the norm.
It is different. We're going to try something new. However, I was hastily like, what can I talk about for Mormon Corner? And I pulled up this list on the internet that tells us all of the Mormon-owned businesses that there are.
Oh.
And I thought that was really interesting.
That is interesting.
So, this is from a website called MoroniChannel.org.
Okay.
So I have done absolutely no research to validate its authenticity or anything like that. But this website tells me businesses that are owned by the Latter-day Saints and the church. Oh, it doesn't say Mormon, so it must be legit.
Right. Because every time you do it, Satan wins.
Yep. Here we go. So JetBlue Airways.
Oh, really?
Founded by a Mormon. Black & Decker Corporation. Founded by a Mormon.
That's interesting.
SkyWest Airlines.
I've never heard of them.
Marriott Hotels.
Seriously?
Yeah. Marriott International was founded by a Mormon, J. Willard Marriott, and is now led by his son, Bill Marriott.
Okay.
Right?
I stayed in a lot of Marriotts.
I know, me too. City Creek Center, I'm not sure where that is. Deseret News.
Of course.
The Polynesian Cultural Center on Oahu is founded.
Well, shocker.
Yeah, that whole area. In fact, the whole town of Laie is owned by Mormons.
Weird.
Oh, which it actually lists here. The I won't list them all, but pretty much everything in Laie is owned by the Mormons. There's a bunch of broadcasting, publishing, and media. A bunch of stuff, Bonneville Broadcasting, Communications, blah, 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 Deseret. You know, everybody who is familiar with Utah knows all about that stuff.
Right.
There's a lot of real estate, too. The Hawaii Reserves, Hawaii Real Estate Holding Company, and then all the Laie stuff. Laie Water Company, Laie Shopping Center, Laie Park, Cemetery, Hukilau Beach Park. So tons of shit on Oahu.
Okay. I want to hear the big ones.
I don't see anything else that's like super huge, but I was actually looking at another list too, and it was there was a ton of like Apple and Microsoft and Amazon.
What?
So I think that's just like definitely not like majority shareholders, but like have a pretty significant stock holding in those companies. So
that's true, because I heard like Pepsi. Like I thought. Wasn't Pepsi owned by the Mormons?
It's probably another thing where they have a lot of stock in the company. Microsoft, Apple, Amazon, Intel, Johnson & Johnson, Visa, JP Morgan Chase, Meta, which is Facebook.
Right.
United Health. Wow, that's a big one. United Health. And then Farmland Agriculture.
It's fucked.
Yeah, anyway.
I did just watch this documentary on HBO Max called Not So Pretty. It's 4 parts, and it covers the beauty industry. And the first episode is about makeup, but more specifically talc-based makeup, foundation, eyeshadow, because anything that has talc in it immediately has asbestos in it. And so if you're breathing that in, like some young girl who's never, been around asbestos got mesothelioma, which is what you get from asbestos in your lungs, and they couldn't figure out why. And it's because she was inhaling her eyeshadow and stuff that she had gotten from like a Claire's. Of course, Claire's denies any wrongdoing and does anything else, but pretty much anything that has talc. So Johnson & Johnson is what made me think of it. They were telling people, you'll cover your body in this talc. They could have used cornstarch, would have done the same thing, but their branding was that it was different than cornstarch, and it was, this talc awesomeness or whatever. And then a bunch of people got cancer, and that's why there's a big lawsuit, and you can no longer find talc Johnson & Johnson baby powder.
If you're a fan of our poon powder,
right,
you'll notice that is also talc based.
Is it? Oh shit!
Well, that's what's funny about the commercial.
Oh, great. I was going to say, I didn't write that commercial, so I don't remember.
And I've never heard it, even though it's been played 96 times.
I don't listen to this podcast.
Hey, what do you have for cool shit?
Well, that documentary is pretty cool shit.
Is it cool, or is that more of this motherfucker?
It's kind of this motherfucker, because the fact that things aren't being regulated properly. I'll wait.
We don't necessarily have to go in order, but I do have a couple of really cool things.
Okay.
The first of which is our adventure that we're having tomorrow, which we are not allowed
to talk about.
Well, we're just not allowed to post anything on social media, but we get to go to the Hollywood Bowl.
Okay, yeah.
And which I've never been to.
Oh my God, the Hollywood Bowl is great.
It's a friend of ours is making a documentary, and we got invited to be part of the audience with a very small number of people.
Right. And so the Hollywood Bowl is huge. It goes, it's got the orchestra, which is where we're going to be at, which is insane. Mm-hmm. And then, you've got the other front, that's the orchestra, and then you've got kind of the front kind of row, and that's where you have nice seats still. And then you start getting into the further back wood seats, and then you're really far back. And I've only sat in the far back. I went and I saw Danny Elfman do Nightmare Before Christmas there, and I was actually on the very last row, and I didn't even give a shit. I was like, this is great. But the very first time I went to the Hollywood Bowl was to go see Paul McCartney, and it was amazing.
Nice. Yeah, I can't wait to check it out.
Paul Simon, I would also say, I had not so great tickets. But with Paul Simon, that was fun. And I don't know why I never thought to do this. I never sat down. I walked around with my full bottle of wine, drinking it from the bottle, and just dancing to Paul Simon songs. And I did not sit down. I just kept walking back and forth. It was great.
It feels really weird to be like, oh man, I get to do this so super cool thing, and then not be able to like tell anybody about it or brag about it on social media. So when it's all said and done, we'll tell you guys about it.
Yeah, I think we just have to wait for it to be released all is fine. But we can't take any pictures while we're there. Do you know how hard that's going to be?
Turn off your phones.
Yeah, surprised they're not letting recording. Just like, you can leave your phone at the door. Like.
Yeah. But anyways, I'm really excited to finally see the Hollywood Bowl, and in that sort of capacity, like, wow.
You'll never experience it again.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, you can go to the Hollywood Bowl 100 times, but for those tickets, it doesn't matter who you're seeing. Yeah. Even if it's just the Philharmonic Symphony, it's going to be fucking expensive as fuck.
Right. So I'm really excited about that. I'm also excited about our friend, actually you introduced me, our friend Lauren.
Yes.
And I went to see Bad Religion a couple weeks back while you were in Arizona for work. And we were a little tipsy. There was a whole situation that happened. Like, her car ended up breaking down on the freeway, like in the lane on the freeway.
Was it her Jeep like, or
the Jeep? Yeah. Okay. Bumper to bumper traffic, and her car just stopped, and like she couldn't, go anywhere, and so like the cars are behind her honking, and she's just like walking around her car in the middle of the freeway, like I don't know what to do. Right. And like some, not highway patrol, but like how they have those like highway monitors to monitor the freeway, but they don't. I guess they're not allowed to help you. Anyway,
who are these people?
It's like some kind of highway monitoring system. Like I guess they call for tow trucks, or like if there's debris on the road, they like call people to clear it. They're just there to monitor, but they're not like law enforcement.
So it's somebody in a car.
A truck in this case.
Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I got you.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And they've got a little like megaphone in their car, but they don't get out of their car. So this guy's behind her, and she's just stuck there, and he's not. He's like, did you call AAA? So anyways, it was a whole situation, and she ended up getting there super late, which was perfect for me because I got to take a nap because I was very exhausted from getting up so early. Anyway, long story short, we got very drunk, and we went to this show, and it was sold out. I mean, we went there at like the doors opened at 7, and we walked over there at like 6:30, and it was like a huge line all the way back, basically to the hotel. Because the hotel we were staying at was pretty cool. You can walk right to the venue.
Oh, that's awesome.
Anyway, we were like, if it's already such a long line, and you know how I feel about being VIP.
Right.
So I was like, let's just go up to the VIP table and just see how much it costs. It was a lot, and we did it because we were drunk. And not only did we do it, we were like, so they have, at the House of Blues in Anaheim, they have the VIP upper level, which is where you and I sat for Bayside.
Right.
And then they have a row of VIP seats in the back behind the crowd, which is elevated just enough that you're looking over the crowd, and it's a pretty small venue, so it looks like you're really close to the stage. It was actually really great seats.
Oh, nice.
And she's like, well, we're sold out of the upper level, but we have this one level in the back. And I was like, well, who got the upper level? And they're like, well, those are reserved for our VIP members, our foundation room members. And I was like, well, how do you become a member? And it was like, ding, 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 ding. Like you could almost see the little, sparkle in her teeth as she smiled. Well, let me tell you about it. Needless to say, now Lauren and I are VIP foundation room members for the next year.
Ridiculous.
But let me tell you the one thing that really, really sold me on it. There's a lot of perks, and it's not cheap. It's like getting a season pass to Disneyland.
Right.
But you also, this was the selling point, you also get a membership to the Magic Castle.
I do like I've never been, but I like the idea of the Magic Castle.
Well, get ready, because we're going to the Magic Castle a lot during the next year, because I'm a member now. So anyway, sorry, long story, rambling story, but that's my cool shit for the week.
It's pretty fucking cool.
Fuck yeah, it is. I'm so VIP.
Right.
I'm so fucking VIP right now.
Oh, man. We almost got to go to the Magic Castle once. What were we doing? We were staying at this hotel, which was really more like an apartment. I have no idea how Craig found this place, but like we were going to go see the Electric Light Orchestra at the Hollywood Bowl. And we decided, like, let's get a hotel room. We'll stay local. And if you stayed at the certain hotel, you could go and go into the Magic Castle and go have dinner. You have to dress up still. You have to make reservations, but they would allow you to go in if you were staying there. And we didn't take advantage of it, and to this day, I'm bitter about it. And so now I'm like, well, when do we get to go? Like,
there's a whole dress code. So I had to be like, the House of Blues sent an introductory email on my behalf, mine and Lauren's behalf, to the Magic Castle to introduce us. And then now we'll take our membership cards, and it gets us and a guest in without the door charge, the cover charge, which is $25. But if you want to bring additional guests, they each have to pay $25. But they're like, you have to read this, you have to read our code of conduct, and you have to read our dress code. And it's like, absolutely no denim of any kind. I don't care what color it is or how stretchy it is.
I don't care if it's a dress.
Absolutely no denim.
It better not be a scarf.
And they have a brunch thing too, which has a little, you can wear a polo shirt to that, but don't you dare wear a polo shirt to dinner, otherwise they will kick you out.
I love it.
I actually I've been one time because our friends Ani and Janine are members.
Right.
And so they invited me to go with them. And Janine was dressed all in black, looking classy, like a tailored pant sort of situation. They wouldn't let her go in because she didn't have a blazer. They made her wear like a blazer, like a country club or something.
So if I wore a dress, I could, but if I was wearing a suit, I need to have a blazer.
Yeah, basically.
Excellent.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's a whole vibe.
I was gonna say it sounds right up your alley.
And then if you watch, if you like Arrested Development, like
of course,
I
mean, why else do I want to go to the Magic Castle?
It's you're gonna love it. I can't wait.
Oh, that's super, super exciting.
Yeah, so that's super cool. And then also, I was very, very pleased to read that Mark Meadows was just discovered to have been registered to vote simultaneously in 3 states.
Oh.
This just came out 2 days ago.
Interesting.
Yeah, Mark Meadows.
He's just one of the fucking fucks.
He was Trump's chief of staff.
Oh, good.
He was like the original Tea Party Republican. He, surprisingly enough, was North Carolina when he was in Congress, so he vacated that and made the way for Madison Cawthorn to just slip right into his DMs.
So icky.
He's a piece of shit. He's awful. I mean, I could read his Wikipedia, and it's like... It's Wikipedia, so it's, supposed to be like pretty factual. No, it's supposed to be pretty factual.
Wikipedia's, I thought, was kind of, you could just change it to whatever you wanted.
Well, maybe. I mean, maybe that's true. Usually for, remember how we were talking about the Steve Bannon thing?
Yeah.
You can't just, if you're famous, you're kind of protected. Nobody can just go in there and change it up because we were going to try to,
Oh, right. We wanted to Steve Bannon.
Yeah. It's pretty factual, but it says things like, well, here's a good one. So he's a real estate guy, and he sold in 2014, he sold 134 acres of land in Colorado to a young earth creationist group. And he appeared in the debunked film Raising the Allosaur, the true story of a rare dinosaur, and the homeschoolers who found it. You get where I'm going with this, right? Young earth.
Yeah.
The Earth's only 6,000 years old. He sold 1 billion acres to this group. Anyways, he's not a guy. Shit. Yeah, he's not a guy that's doing any good for humanity or civilization.
So what's repercussions? Just that he loses credibility because that doesn't seem to matter anymore.
Well, I don't think there are any repercussions. He's also the first person who, actually since Watergate, who's been held in contempt of Congress for refusing to comply with the court order. He's the first person. Nothing's happened to him for that. So
that's right. I was reading on Twitter. Someone said, so if I don't go to court over my speeding ticket, hell will rain down on me. But Mark Meadows, meanwhile, doesn't show up to court yet again.
Yeah, and nothing happens.
You know what else is really cool? Mallory McEnroe, I think is how you say her name. She's a senator in Michigan, and I guess a Senator Lana Theis, Theis, accused her by name of grooming and sexualizing children in an attempt to marginalize her for standing up against her marginalizing the LGBTQ community in a fundraising email for herself. So
I did hear about that.
She went up and she fucking tore apart. She just went up and was just like, oh, listen, this is what I stand for, and like, if you could find the video of her, it's on our Twitter, or it's on my Twitter. We'll put it on our Twitter, on the Bad Mormons Twitter. But like, she pretty much was just saying like, I'm a Christian, I'm a mom, and I stand up for, other people who need to stand up for themselves. My mom taught me a long time ago that it's not about just being seen in church. It's actually going and doing the thing the church is telling you to do. She's like, a pastor, I guess, pulled her mom aside and said, you're not doing everything that you can be doing in this church. Like, what are you talking about? It's like, I don't see you here every Sunday. I'm working in the soup kitchen. That's why I'm not in church, because I'm actually practicing and not just being fucking lame and being like, I'm a Christian who does absolutely nothing to give back to her community. Anyways, it was a really, really good thing that she did.
What state is she from? Michigan?
Michigan. And so I saw on Twitter today that Joe Biden called her up about her speech and was like, oh, hey, way to go. Good job.
Nice.
Yeah. But anyways, it's a 3-minute speech, totally worth checking out.
Yeah, we'll have to post that. Should we go into this motherfucker?
Yes.
Because I have a few things to talk about. I was like, okay, have you seen any of the Mud Butt Turd Girl testimony videos?
I watched something, but I was at work, so I couldn't watch a whole lot of it, but mainly it was just her saying, I don't recall, and this guy was trying to say, like, do you think the people who actively are trying to illegally...
Unlawfully.
Like hide votes or whatever, is enemies to the Constitution? And she would not fucking answer it.
Yeah, so, okay, we're going to break our rule. Normally we don't say her name on her podcast because she's evil incarnate.
Yeah.
But we're talking about Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Mud Butt Turd Girl.
Mud Butt Turd Girl. And so there's a group I forget the name of the group. I'm so sorry. I don't have it in front of me. But there's a group that's representing voters in several different states. And so this group is basically challenging her right to run for re-election.
Oh, I'm sorry, what?
Getting thirsty?
I'm real thirsty.
They're challenging her right to run for re-election because of her involvement in the January 6th insurrection.
Oh.
And so they're pulling up the 14th Amendment to the Constitution, which is, I don't really fully understand it, but I know that it hasn't been used. It's like from the beginning. Right. You know, it's arcane. It's super old. And it hasn't been used since the Reconstruction.
Oh.
So it's very like untested waters. And the same group that's trying to ban her from running for re-election also tried to do it to Madison Cawthorn.
Right.
A judge wouldn't allow it.
Really?
They tried to do it in Arizona. The judge wouldn't allow it. They're like, this doesn't fit this scenario or whatever. But in Georgia, they allowed it to go through. And so she has had to go in and provide testimony. A lot of people are thinking like she's on trial. She hasn't been charged with any crimes, but she has to provide testimony to basically try to make the case for these people who think that she was...
an insurrectionist. Yeah,
an insurrectionist. And so from what I could find, like the 14th Amendment has a bunch of different sections, and it's most commonly known for it's the statement, you can't deprive any person of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. It was supposed to be, it had a lot to do with like freeing the slaves back in the day. But there's this section 3 of it that says that I'm going to quote it. It says that no one can serve in Congress who, having previously taken an oath as a member of Congress to support the Constitution of the United States, shall have engaged in insurrection or rebellion against the same. And so this group is claiming, rightfully fucking so, that she has been a part of an insurrection and has rebelled against the same Constitution for which she took the oath to like serve.
Right.
So, but really, like, the good shit is her testimony. There's videos of it. There's a lot of videos of it. And I think Vanity Fair actually sums it up perfectly. They have an article. It's titled, Marjorie Taylor Greene apparently can't recall anything that's happened in the last 3 years. Which I thought was so great. Because I forget somebody was keeping track, but I forget how many times she answered a question with, I don't recall, I don't remember. And it was things that, like, did you have this conversation with Donald Trump? Oh, I don't remember if I had a conversation with him.
Right.
Where you're like, really? Really?
Right.
Actually, when they asked her that question, she was like, her lawyer objected, and he's like, that's covered under executive privilege. Like, she doesn't have to answer that. That's, kind of like an attorney-client privilege sort of thing for the executive branch. The only problem is she's not a member of the executive branch. She's a congressperson, and they're not talking about Donald Trump, who is a member of, Anyway.
God, that's so disgusting.
Doesn't apply. And she's like, some of the more funny ones were like, did you ever say that Nancy Pelosi was a traitor to the country? No, I never said that. Okay, pull up the video of her saying that. Oh wait, hold on. Maybe I did say that, but I didn't mean it. And they just kept doing that to her. Like, did you ever say this? No, I never said that. Oh, pull up the video of her saying that. Oh, I don't remember making that video. It's like, well, it doesn't matter if you fucking remember it because we're all watching it right now. So,
Skank.
Unfortunately, it's probably not very likely that it's going to stop her from running.
Right.
But it's a real fun trial to watch.
Right. Also, I think would be great for, maybe hurting her re-election campaigns and whatnot, which I swear to God, I don't even know how these people fucking made it in there in the first place.
Well, she ran unopposed.
Of course she did. Of course she did.
It's kind of funny, too, because, everybody who's paying attention, like the midterms are coming up, and there's all these fucking evil people. There's not a whole lot of them, but there's like a handful of these evil people who have somehow like slimed their way into like public office, and the more notorious ones are obviously Mudbutt Turd Girl, Madison Cawthorn,
Lauren Boebert,
Matt Gaetz. There's a few of them, and their antics are so hateful and hurtful that their own party is starting to divide. Right. Which is generally something that the Democrats do.
Right.
Unfortunately.
Which is why we lose all the time.
Yes, exactly. So it's kind of happening with the Republicans where they're like, we're not going to vote for these like crazy circus people.
Right.
We're going to vote for these other people. And so they're splitting the vote, which gives the Democrats an advantage. Who knows if how that's actually going to play out. But
right.
I would just be thrilled if we could get rid of these fucking people. Although I don't know what we would talk about on the podcast because that's all we've ever talked about.
Right?
Yeah.
That's who was it that had said that? I think it was Stephen Colbert, and he was just like, yeah, I would love for Trump to win, like originally. Like, he's like, I would have material forever, but I still don't want it to happen. And then, of course, that dark day happened anyways.
You know who they're talking about, the whispers for the 2024 presidential run for the Republican candidate are?
Huh.
Ron DeSantis.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I know. He's so gross.
Good Lord. I don't even think he's governor, right?
Yeah.
He shouldn't even.
Don't say gay.
Don't say gay.
Don't say gay.
I like that he's, I guess, taking away Disney's, tax break or whatever, like corporate tax break. I'm like, good, make them fucking pay taxes. They should all fucking have to pay taxes. If I have to pay fucking taxes, everyone does.
Yeah.
Anyways,
because
the gay community was like, listen, Disneyland, we fucking support the shit out of you, and they do. I mean, we all do. Mm-hmm. And yeah, if they were going to kind of be standing up for these don't stay gay bullshit, and they've got Disney World in Florida, what, make me not want to support them either.
Yeah.
So they kind of did an about face, and we're like, oh well, listen, blah blah blah, we can't, because they gave money to DeSantis at some point, I guess, but we're not going to be giving him any more money. So now he's doing an about face and going like, oh well, you're gonna have to pay taxes then, and blah blah blah. And it's like, these are things you're not supposed to say out loud either.
So corrupt.
that you can control whether a corporation pays taxes or not.
Yeah.
Like, fuck off.
Yeah. Speaking of horrible, slimy Tea Party Republicans, have you heard or seen any of the pictures of Madison Cawthorn popping up on the internet this week?
Yes.
Cocaine-fueled orgy Madison Cawthorn.
Right. That he, of course, would never partake in.
Of course.
What was it about the blow-up dolls? Does he have some blow-up dolls being sent to his house?
No, that was our friend James who sent a picture, which I never posted. I should post that. He sent me a picture that was just a box that the UPS guy had apparently just dropped off, and it said, "Do not puncture inflatable doll." James was like, "This is on its way to Madison Cawthorn's address. You just can't see the address listed on the other side."
That's awesome.
But yeah, he was like, there's all these pictures of him wearing a bra.
Right.
And partying. I don't know. Who knows?
So my original thought when I saw that was like, what, is he at like a Rocky Horror Picture Show thing? Like, I'm not one to judge people for wearing women's clothing or whatnot. But not when you're a fucking bigot who's trying to take away people's fucking rights.
Exactly.
And he's not fun enough to go to a Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yeah, when you're so, uber Christian that you're referring to women's bodies as earthen vessels on the floor of Congress, go fuck yourself.
Right. You don't get to fucking be like,
you don't get to have fun.
Right, exactly, pretty much. But you don't get to hang out with the fun people who do the fun things that you are sitting there shitting all over, and then be like, just kidding, I could have some fun too, you guys.
Yeah. Nope, you can't.
Don't leave me out.
You don't get to go to the cocaine-fueled orgies.
No, you sure don't.
You don't get to wear lingerie. You get to sit in your basement with your blow-up dolls and do cocaine by your sad self.
Right.
Roll your wheelchair around in circles.
He's trying to claim that it was some sort of like game show thing on a cruise line or whatever, which it could very well be.
Yeah, maybe it was. So what?
Yeah, but it doesn't stop the fact that you were wearing lingerie, you fucking bigot.
Yeah, and you're just basically, the funniest part about that thing is he's just portraying the exact opposite of everything he's tried to create. This persona he's tried to create for the conservative Christian family values people, which is so hilarious to me.
Right? Fuck that guy.
Yeah, I hate him. Anyway, so it's been a really fun week on Twitter for me.
I wish I wasn't so busy so I could read more. So
yeah, same here.
I want to get more into it. Especially, I want to watch. This is a time when I wish that we had cable so that I could watch the clips of all of the.
I watch it all on Twitter.
Oh, perfect! Great.
Yeah, you can find it on Twitter.
Some time
Actually, that brings me to another thing. I really dove into this on Twitter today because I had some free time while I was waiting for a situation to unfold at my job. I had to sit in the other office and just wait while somebody was on the phone, and I was watching clips of the Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard trial.
Oh my God, what a nightmare.
Have you seen any of that or heard any of that audio?
Little clips in here. She is a fucking monster.
Dude, she's so nuts.
I already knew she was a monster, but like poor Johnny Depp.
I know, seriously. And you never know. It
takes two to tango kind of bullshit. You bring out the worst in each other. I get all that.
And you fall in love with somebody who's like such a well-known actor over the years and who's played so many iconic roles. So of course you're going to be like, oh, I love him because he's my favorite in Nightmare on Elm Street or whatever. Right. Probably not that for most people, but for us,
for me, it was great.
But so you're like, you have to. There's a little bit of bias, of course, going into that. But if you look at any of the clips and you hear any of the audio of her berating him and talking to him and like basically just trying to set him up, like she'll hide cameras and just try to bait him into reacting, and she's there's something wrong with her, like she's manic and she's crazy.
Right.
So I don't know, that I listened to probably about 15 minutes worth of audio today at work, and it was just like, holy shit, I feel so bad for him.
Right. I heard somewhere too it's going to cost them each about $20 million in like lawyer fees and court fees and stuff. Wow. Which is just insane. But honestly, she, you always want to believe victims, right? But in this case, like, she took that and betrayed it. Like, oh, he beats me, blah, blah, blah. He lost his job on Pirates. He lost all of his shit, right? Like, he lost all this work because of her accusations, and they were all bullshit. If anything, it turns out that she's a fucking abuser piece of shit.
There's actually an audio clip of her saying, oh yeah, go ahead, Johnny Depp, a man. Go ahead, tell them I'm an abuser. Who's going to believe you? No one's going to believe you. Right. They're going to believe me. And she like, they're playing that for the judge,
Right. And the one I heard was her just saying, babe, I didn't punch you. I slapped you. That's different. You want to see what a punch looks like? It's just like, she's such a fucking bitch. And it's just like, wow, it's never okay for you to put hands on anybody. So the
ones that were really disturbing to me were where he was trying to talk to her and she'd be like, oh, yeah, oh yeah, really? Oh, okay,
just condescending.
Yeah, just like a baby talking him sort of, but just like wouldn't let him. I don't know. That was really, really disturbing to hear somebody like treating another person like that.
Right.
And she seemed manic, like she seemed like she had a disorder, when she was doing it. So I don't know. That's not something like generally I pay attention to. I was really all about celebrity gossip and celebrity news when I was younger, and I just,
don't care about it now. Yeah,
I'm more into politics because I'm old.
And it affects you more.
Right. But that was really kind of traumatic to listen to that today. So I don't know if that's something that's interesting to you. It might be worth taking a look.
It's all over. So like when I'm on Facebook, they have these, Instagram Reels is trying to compete with TikTok. And a lot of times it's actually TikTok that somebody just has also shared on Instagram Reels. But that's where I've been seeing all this stuff because it's in my suggested, Reels for you to watch. And I'm just like, what's going on now? And it's just like, it was sad.
Yeah, it's really sad.
And I guess Johnny Depp's been clean of all opioids for a while. And, he was you could see he was proud of himself. He's like, well, have you taken any opioids since you've been in rehab? He's like, no, I can't do that again. It's too much.
Right.
And I was just like, oh man, poor dude.
Yeah, he really there's some sort of crazy fucking life lesson for him in that.
Right. Well, he's an addict. There was one thing, I guess, that got brought up that was a little disturbing. And I didn't read the article. I just read the headline. But it was like that he parties with Marilyn Manson. And after watching that fucking documentary, I mean, I already knew Marilyn Manson was kind of a piece of shit. Even when I was listening to him in high school, right? You were always kind of like, he's kind of lame. But he would say things like, do you think I actually dress this way? Do you think I actually act this way? No, this is an act so that you guys will listen to my music. And I kind of thought, I was like, God, he's so smart. He's, he had interviews with Michael Moore, and it was like, that guy's really smart. And he is really smart. He's also a fucking horrible human being who uses, brainwashing and torture and sleep deprivation, all this shit to just manipulate and destroy women that he's dating, and is completely abusive and rapist piece of shit. Right. So it's just hearing that Johnny Depp would hang out and do drugs with him, you have to also be like, wait, what the fuck?
Right.
But that could also
just be drugs.
He's drugs and clickbait too. How did they actually hang out, or were they at the same party together at the same time?
Yeah. Right. Yeah, traumatic. Poor Johnny Depp.
Right. Well, I'm sure he'll figure it out.
So I read somewhere, and this, obviously is not substantiated by any means, but I read somewhere where he has a $50,000 a month wine budget. And of course, that's what stuck in my head. I was like, I want to drink like Johnny Depp. Right. I'm sure he has the best wine in the world.
Right. I mean, and knowing how expensive wine can be, that could only be a case or two.
So, Johnny, if you're listening
to our wildly popular, successful
internet famous podcast, why don't you invite us over? We'll have a glass of wine with you.
Yeah, and we won't berate you.
And we'll talk shit about your ex with you.
But you know who's not banging hot anymore?
Who?
Johnny Depp.
Well, you know what? We all get old. I'm not as hot as I used to be. Or am I hotter?
Hotter.
Thanks.
I know I'm definitely hotter than I used to be. Even with all of my sweet double chins going on, I am way more banging than I was when I was 19.
Speaking of double chins, should we hear a word from our sponsors?
Fabulous idea.
Turns out we don't have any commercials that talk about double chins yet.
Fuck. Get on it, Mandy.
Okay, so do we have any stories?
Sure. Sure do.
I don't think you're telling me the truth.
I was going to wait to see what your story was, and then it would magically rehash some memory of mine.
Well, I'll tell you what. We've already been going 40 minutes-ish. We'll trim that down a little. So I'm going to just do a real short one. Okay. Because I wanted to tell it last week, and we had so much to talk about that I forgot. So we were telling stories. I was talking about the Sisters of Perpetual Indulgence and Dolores Park and the Hunky Jesus contest and how much fun I used to have in San Francisco. And to be honest, I have so many drunken, cocaine-fueled debauchery stories from San Francisco that I just don't remember because I was so fucked up, which is too bad.
Because I bet they were great.
I'm sure we did a lot of fun stuff. But my favorite story that I love to tell about living in San Francisco is this. I was living right between the Castro and the Mission on 15th and Church. It was my favorite neighborhood I've ever lived in. That's the one that was right by Dolores Park. It was super fabulous. And I would take the bus to work before I got my bike, and then subsequently before I got my bike stolen, because,
Right, San Francisco.
Bummer. Yeah. But so I would take the 22 Fillmore over to Potrero Hill, and I would take it to work. And I had to be at work at like some ridiculous hour because we were doing a reset or something. So I was out there, walked out of my apartment at like 4 in the morning or 3:30 in the morning to get on the bus to go to work to do this thing. And I go out there, and it's like so I'm on Church Street, and the J Church train goes through there on basically the same place as the bus stop is.
Mm-hmm.
So the train goes by, so you can't see the other side of the street. And then as soon as the train goes by, like I go to the middle of the street, and I'm on the platform in the middle of the street, and I'm like waiting there and, waiting for the bus. And around the corner, I'm pretty close to the corner, around the corner come these two guys. And one of them was totally naked except for like a thong, like a Speedo thong thing. And he was wearing a dog collar. And the other guy was like dressed totally normal, walking him on a leash. And they were both like walking on their feet, but the other one was definitely like leading the other guy.
I always envisioned that one was on his force.
No, they're walking. But he's like being led on a leash like a dog. And
because I would say I wouldn't want to put any bear skin on San Francisco asphalt or concrete.
Yeah, well, here's the funny thing. Oh, it was a red metallic thong too, by the way, in case that adds any color.
No, it does.
To it.
It adds to my story in my brain.
So anyway, I'll never forget this. The first thought that popped into my head is not like, oh, danger, dudes walking by me in the middle of the night, city streets, whatever. It was like, that is so disgusting. I was like, that is so gross. That guy is not wearing shoes. And then I thought to myself, and I was like, that's the first thing you think of when you see a guy walking another guy on a leash? Yeah. I was like, okay, all right, cool. But yeah, that's one of my favorite San Francisco stories because it's just so absurd.
That's ridiculous, and I love it. And I love that you wouldn't have seen it if you weren't out at 4 a.m.
Exactly.
I told you your story would make me think of my own story. Not the dog walking one, because that's great, and I don't have anything that amazing. But, so we were in Bellingham. Me and Tiffany were living down over by F Street, and like... this bar has probably changed to so many different bars over the years, but at this point I believe it was called Lux. It was a martini bar, but I didn't drink martinis yet. Like I wasn't into them. Like I was still like a vodka Sprite, not even vodka soda. Like,
is it a tiki bar now?
No. It's literally kind of in the industrial. Like if you're going down State Street, and you know where what is that gym that.
The Y?
It might be the Y. If you've gone to Diamond Ginger, that's not right. So yeah, if you're the bowling alley, right? You're walking down that street, and you keep walking, and you go past the grocery outlet, right? And you keep going down, like, and then that would get you to F Street, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's kind of like an industrial kind of like trucker kind of stop thing too.
Skippers used to be down there.
Yes, I think
or Long John Silver's.
Yes. And I want to say it was probably where Long John Silver's is now this bar, right?
Okay.
So, like most bars in Bellingham are pretty rad. They're kind of musky. They're like, they're all dive bars, really, but they're kind of scenes. I don't know. They're not cookie cutter, like new age, like I don't know, like fresh bars, if that makes sense. So this is a fresh bar. Like it's got fresh paint. There are neon lights everywhere. Like I felt like I should be in like a Miami Vice episode or something.
I know where you're talking about.
We would go because they would have karaoke.
Yeah.
So we're there for karaoke, as one does, and I order a drink. I get my vodka soda or whatever. And I drink it, and it goes down really fast. And I'm like, I wasn't suspicious yet, but I ordered my next drink. It goes down pretty fast. I ordered my next drink. It goes down pretty fucking fast. And I'm like, what the fuck? Is there any booze in this? Like, I am 100% sober. Like,
how am I supposed to sing REO Speedwagon if I'm not drunk?
Right? Nobody wants to hear that. Because if I'm drunk, I at least think that I'm good. So I ordered my 4th drink. Nothing by the end of that drink. I am still dead fucking sober. And I think the manager came over because we were a pretty large group. how's everything going, blah, blah, blah. And I've been there a few times. Like, they don't know who I am, but, they know, like, do you know who I am? No, but it's like, they're like, oh, hey, you're back, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I don't mean to complain, man, but, like, check my check. Like, this is my 4th drink, and I am dead fucking sober. This is not adding up. And she's just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. She brings me back this drink, and it is strong. Like, I'm like, sweet. Now that's a drink, right? I go up, I sing my song or whatever. I get maybe halfway through that drink, and I am so fucking trashed that, like, I had to leave. I don't even think I finished that drink. And it wasn't because the drink was so strong. It was that none of the other drinks were that weak. For whatever reason, my tolerance was just fucking with me that day, and I just didn't think that I was drunk, and I probably was.
So you were that asshole.
I was that fucking asshole, and I apologize. But the thing is that, like, talking to her, like, I wasn't slurring my words. I was dead fucking sober, and I looked dead sober, and I was making sense, I wasn't being like, hey, I don't mean... And it was like, I need a drink, this is ridiculous. I was
you were
more like...
belligerent.
I wasn't even
belligerent
tipsy.
as in...
Yeah, I was going to say, but I wasn't even tipsy when we were talking. Like, she'd look at me and be like, you know what? Yeah, you're pretty sober. I'm really sorry. Let me get you a proper drink, or whatever. But
yeah, I don't mean belligerent as in drunk. I mean belligerent as in, like angry.
What's wrong with this drink? Yeah. I need a real drink. It was more like, hey, I don't want to be a dick or anything. It was my 4th drink, and I'm really sober. Like, kind of, your drinks are kind of bullshit. And I've had, like, 3 Jell-O shots. No.
From your drinks are bullshit to lips down.
It was like, sure, it's gonna go night.
What the fuck was that bar called?
It wasn't called Lux? I don't know why.
It could have been. I don't know. Maybe.
Because there was a big martini outside, and then when it changed to a different bar, they named it something else, and I think they used that martini and made it into something else. Like,
yeah.
That bar is bullshit, but...
Yeah, there was a gas station right next to it. Yeah. Bellingham friends, if you know what the fuck we're talking about,
would be great.
Why don't you head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave it in the review.
You can also email us at FHEBadMormons@gmail.com. More than likely, you could also just text message us.
You can send us your stories, and if you'd like to be on our podcast, drop us a line as well.
Yeah, we love having special guests. Special shout out to our patrons. You guys are fucking rad. If you'd like to become a patron, you can do so for as little as $3 and as much as your bank account can handle.
Check out our YouTube. We're always looking for likes and subscribes.
Share with your friends on social media. Helps people find us.
And you can get your official Family Home Evening with Bad Mormons merch from our TeePublic site, which is on our link tree, which is on all of our social medias.
Check out our website. We do have a website.
Yeah, we do have a website.
Yeah, it's FHEBadMormons.
Buy some stuff.